Was there something in my walk, how I talk, giving off the wrong energy? Was there something in my stride, too much pride, telling you to back down? Slowly, slowly you became my enemy. But you can't seem to get enough of me. So if this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah, if this is the last time, I guess I better give it my all. So if this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah, if this is the last time, I guess I better give it my all. Was there something in my walk, how I talk, giving off the wrong energy? Was there something in my stride, too much pride, telling you to back down? Slowly, slowly you became my enemy. But you can't seem to get enough of me. So if this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah, if this is the last time, I guess I better give it my all. So if this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah, if this is the last time, I guess I better give it my all.
Tinsley sends it to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Barbizzel FTF Cup Series.
Into the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag.
Here comes Vargas down on the apron. They are 5 wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they're going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas. Oh, get your foot there.
He's got it. He's got it. Get there. No.
Canvas is in. A look over at The Rock, where tonight comes the first big test at endurance and physicality. We're live from the virtual Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. This becomes the next stage for the 2003 WINSTEL season and the 2003 Subway 400 with our coverage live on FTF.GG. Welcome to Thunder Alley. We're so happy to have you join us. We're alongside Derek Watson in the broadcast booth. My name is Kenneth Bueno, and Derek hopping off of the very intense race at Daytona International Speedway to kick off the season. We're here at Rockingham, just like the 2003 NASCAR Cup Series folks would do it, and this race certainly will be a big one for the drivers. It's a lot about keeping the car on the racetrack, keeping the tires with you, and of course, trying to get to that checkered flag.
Yeah, KB, this is, of course, in some ways the complete opposite of what we did last week at Daytona. It's not about drafting. It's about saving tires. It's about having smooth lines. And it's just going to be different. I expect to see different people up front than we saw last week.
Probably going to see that, and as well, 70 laps we'll have here at Rockingham in this series. The WINSTEL 2003 season has a lot of short brevet races, so brief races, as I would say. You have very short races. You're probably going to look at these events more like a sprint than a marathon. We'll probably talk about that deeper into our coverage. We'll take things trackside and give you your starting grid for the 2003 Subway 400 as they are all lined up behind the iRacing official pace car. Graham Bolin in the number 14 has it on pole with a 24.520. He'll be the first to see the green. He's joined alongside by the number 8 of Dylan Roberts. Parker Alexander, sporting the Steve Park paint scheme, will be inside the top 3 inside row number 2. Jose Solis Jr. in the number 29 will be on his outside. Dylan, all eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series talent for Latart Esports. He wraps up the top 5. He'll be joined by Mike Alexander in row number 3. Larry Pace in the 75 rolls off from P7, and he'll be joined by Jonathan Hernandez on the outside in P8. And the final 2 drivers, Derek Watson to join our top 10. Tyler Head in the number 86 and the 48 of Sean Peleg.
That's right. We're going to see who made it just outside the top 10. That's Ali Osman in a 5 car, followed by 55 number Matthew Barkhouse. Then Philip Snipes and TJ Crampton make up row 7. Tyler B. Murray and James Holzer make up row 8. Brendan McGee and Gabriel Mauricio in row number 9. And then Steve Gauther and Mike Rhino round out row number 10, Kenneth.
Matt Burgess in the 2 will be 21st at the drop of the green. Evan Locke will be on his outside in the 25. Christian Budd and William Boisvert 23rd and 24th as we roll off in row number 12. Timothy Latham is inside the top 25 with Josh Parasotto to his outside. Nicholas Doucette, Zach Campbell to roll off 27th and 28th. Campbell starting deep in the field. He was the winner at Daytona to start the season. Ryan Doucette is 29th. Jacob Bradley is inside the top 30. In row number 15, Alex Kolinix in number 32. Will roll off from 31st. Ben Hancock 32nd. 33rd to Brandon Cruz Monsivais in 33rd. Then Davin Cornelius 34th. Anthony Kroback in 35th. Ken Huff, Chris Hancock, Hayden Repas, Nicholas Nuck, Ross Lineback, and C. Shane Calhoun are the final drivers in this 41-car field. 27th on back, Derek did not take a time in qualifying, so it is going to be unique for them to try and work their way up to the front of the field. And we have 70 laps, 70 miles, just over 114 kilometers here in Rockingham, North Carolina. So you're looking at a pretty short race. You got to do a lot of work in very little time. That's going to provide for a really unique race and interesting one for the drivers.
A very unique race, Kenneth, and this start part, will be a telling of what's going to happen because all the restarts have some different rules we'll talk about. This is going to be a challenge for these drivers, and once again, as I said, think about the drivers, James Holzer and Zach Campbell, who were in the contention for the win at Daytona pretty far back in the field, Kenneth, so it leads to this being a new winner to start off our season, maybe have 2 races, 2 winners. We'll see what happens.
You often look at these types of races, especially with the ones that are upcoming in this schedule, as the benchmark on how you're going to do for the rest of the year, knowing that the different types of tracks, 1.5 mile short tracks, everything in between is going to be there. You're not really going to visit the super speedway until you get all the way back to Daytona in race number 12 of the calendar year. It will be Graham Bolin in the 14, Dylan Roberts in the 8 in row number 1. Pace car will make that trip down to pit road for the very first time, and we will kick off the 2003 Subway 400 with Graham Bolin up on the front. Green flag is in the air. And caution out for the very first time. We have trouble near the rear of the field. Looks like a couple of drivers got involved. That looks to be the 00 of Josh Parasotto. Remember, he started pretty much in the mid-pack. I think got a tap from the number 20 machine of Zach Campbell at the exit of turn 2. Got spun around, slammed into the 32, and also got hit by the 18 of Anthony Kroback. Hit the inside wall, and so that brings out our first yellow before we can really complete a proper lap. We'll take a look at it, Derek, in just simple case. Tap of the rear bumper, car lifts off the ground.
It's sort of funny, KB. I said we're not at Daytona, but that was a case of pushing the pusher. watch this again here. If you can see, we're going to see someone get in the back of the 00. I'm pretty sure someone gets in the back of the 20 or close to it. We're not drafting here, boys. There's no bump drafting. You got to clean that up.
It was Jacob Bradley in the 60, that third car on that outside lane, but that's something that we're going to discuss pretty often here at this Rockingham Speedway, is that setup out of turn 2 and just how difficult it is to get out of that corner with a lot of momentum. And if you're a guy like Josh Perizotto, you make that small mistake, everyone's going to be on your rear bumper. The race just started, and with that, the 00 will have to pretty much tank in track position, and will head down for the pit lane for the first time. Zach Campbell will join. Looks like a couple of others to properly come in as well. Davin Cornelius, the number 54 of Brandon Cruz Monsivais. And it looks like Shane Calhoun also heading for the pit lane. That 27 was at the rear of the field at the drop of the green. So Derek, we'll talk about this length of a race. 70 laps we have here at Rockingham. We usually have a benchmark of maybe 50 laps at the 1.5 mile tracks, over 100 at the very short half milers. But you're looking here at Rockingham, only 70 laps here, probably going to deal with lap after lap ticking by. You only have maybe half an hour of racing. You really have to do a lot of work, and that's one of the unique things about this WINSTEL 2003 season, is that because they're so short, you have to treat them like a sprint. You can't play the long game. You have to go as soon as lap 1 progresses.
You do. And the other thing you have to do as well, Kenneth, as a driver, is you have to understand this is a big field. It's 41 cars to start tonight. This track looks wide on the broadcast, but I can tell you, Kenneth, as someone who's driven on this track in iRacing service, it doesn't feel wide. There's not a whole lot of space here. There's not a lot of space to avoid wrecks when they happen. You also have to be ready to avoid a wreck. We've already seen one on the first lap here. By avoiding wrecks and staying safe, you'll move up the field pretty quickly as well. Now, the other problem we're going to face here for these drivers who want to make a move quickly is the restart rule, Kenneth. We're back in 2003. We're back before iPods, iPhones, Netflix, other things, even before iRacing, come to think of it. See, here's how restarts work. Everyone's going to start on the outside lane who's a lead lap car. You cannot pass someone on the inside until you reach the start-finish line. Lap down cars, will start on the inside. That's their way of potentially maybe getting a lap back by having a shorter distance around the track. Those will be the rules until 10 to go. At 10 to go, lapped cars back on the field, please. But it's all single file restarts here in this season.
And what that does is give leeway to the race leader in Graham Boland this time by, but really anytime we have a race leader up at the front, as Ross Leinbach gets the wave around, so the 23 going to rejoin the field at the tail end, and we'll try to get this restart in on lap number 6 of 70 here in the 2003 Subway 400. But that's a big thing as well. You don't have double file restarts. You can't have inside-outside work together. It's just all one line, and the leader has to kick everything off. Second on back has to wait for P1 to go, so it makes things a lot more difficult for those drivers on back to try and catch up to, obviously, a very stout talent in Graham Boland in the 14. Gonna try to get a restart here on lap number 6 after the quick yellow that arose at a turn number 2. It looks like everything is okay for the drivers involved. The 00 of Josh Perizotto rejoins the field in 37th. A bit of rear end damage, but should not be enough to take him out of this race. Obviously not going to affect the aerodynamics all too much as well. Pace car is down, leaders come out of turn 4, and the restart is in the hands of Graham Boland, who will take his Haras machine deep to the start-finish line and will not go. I think a waved off restart, or maybe Graham Boland is going to try to go now. I think they're going to maybe go again. Very odd situation as the pace car went down.
Yeah, it's odd because I still see yellow out on the track, but the pace car left. I am confused. Yeah. Let's see if we can get a word from race control. Now we're being delayed green, so I'm not sure the pace car will come back out. I don't know if he just needed gas, or maybe the pace car forgot we were in 2003 and forgot the rules. I don't know what happened, KB, but not a common restart. But hey, you know what? For Graham Boland, this is good news. It's one less lap he has to fight someone for. And one more lap he leads. That's the good news.
That's true, but also in the same vein, I mean, look at a driver like Graham Boland. He's probably not going to have any trouble getting up through the gears on the restart. Race control has extended to 2 laps to green, so it looks like we will have at least another lap or so behind the iRacing official pace car. There it is, popping out of the right on the right side of your screen, now in the center as it comes out of turn 4, so we'll bring the leaders still single file. Very odd situation there. Not sure. I think Graham Boland was just waiting for the green to come out. It's like, okay. Green's going to come out. I'm going to wait as long as possible, but as soon as they got to that start finish line, it was like, okay, this is not where it's going to go. and it looks like we're now going to get the 1 to green signal. So
Yeah, I think
finally, we should have a restart proper.
I think race control is saying someone wasn't lined up and ready to go. So race control. I almost said waste control. Race control waved it off. There's too many R's and W's in that sentence for me to apparently properly get it right. But I mean, Kenneth, Rockingham's a pretty apt name for this track because if you've driven on it, this thing is all kinds of bumpy. This is not a smooth track. These are not smooth laps. You know what this track will remind you of from last week when we did Legacy Daytona is how bumpy this track is, how much you're fighting the car. We'll see that throughout the night when we get green here. It's going to be a challenge for these drivers.
Yeah, it is definitely true, and it comes very easily when you get on the racetrack. You go into the first corner, you're going to notice those bumps, and obviously that's going to matter in terms of tire wear, in terms of getting loose on the racetrack. Going to be some big conversation topics, and hopefully we'll have them if we step into a long
Let's try this again, Kenneth.
run. Well, let's see if we can get a restart. We'll see if everybody's lined up perfectly. It is again Graham Boland at the head of the field. Finally, green flag back out on the 2003 Subway 400. And with a little bit of a hesitant start, Boland doesn't pull away as far ahead as maybe he would like to against Dylan Roberts. Side by side for third. Parker Alexander getting the best of Jose Solis Jr. Dylan all looking to the inside for P4.
And much like we saw back in 2003, Kenneth, DEI up here at front, 1 and 2, the 8 and the 1, chasing down the field here. So this is a great start. Both these guys, of course, very talented drivers. Jose Solis, a former Coke driver. Parker, a very, very talented driver who has not yet made his way to that series. But here we go. Here's a Goodrich car coming around the outside as well.
Solis powering on the outside for third, might even look for second. And here at Rockingham, it does feel very narrow, but if there's one thing you could say is that there are multiple lines of use, and you can go to that outside, get some good runs, and Jose Solis using it to his advantage. He goes through second, Dylan Roberts, and now we'll look for the lead against Graham Boland. We'll try a rise at a turn 2 with a run on the back straightaway. Can't do enough to make the move for the lead, but Solis is there, and he could be there quickly, getting a clean air early. That might just be the strategy as of lap 10. And now it looks like the number 14 of Boland goes to the outside to try and block Solis' run. The exit of turn 2, they single file out. First battle inside the top 10. You'll find the 49, Mike Alexander, going at it against Jonathan Hernandez in the third car in line. That is Tyler Head in the 86. And obviously, Derek, with the fact that we are running a 2003 season, you have to have the man. You have to have Mr. Fred from NR 2003, the celebration of the 20th anniversary of the sim. There's Tyler Head in his machine, the 86, the beautiful red, white, and blue papyrus colors as he sits ninth.
Yeah, very much a throwback, and the 20-year anniversary is very important to those of us in the sim racing community who have been a part of this for so long, and we appreciate it. But yeah, great racing going back here, Kenneth. Top lane being used, bottom lane being used. It's a little bit of driver preference. Now, what could come into play here if we can stay green, Kenneth, with these shortened fuel tanks is they're going to need to pit. And are they saving tires properly? The guys going through the bottom corners are probably saving less tires than the guys who are taking the top of the track.
And we're looking at a fuel window of roughly 35 to 40 laps. So we're probably looking at around halfway. That is, of course, if we stay green. We did have some drivers come down pit row, but for the majority of the field, all of them have stayed out. They're probably going to look at 35 to 40 as the exact marker, and that should pretty much get you to the end of the race, as you only need to pit once. So that's the good news for these guys. Not really a big worry on strategy in terms of fuel, but I think Derek, tires are going to really be the biggest key, because if you save them, and obviously if you have fresh tires versus drivers that don't near the end of a race, you get a couple of cautions that could change the perplexion of the game. As the 29 of Solis looks again underneath Graham Boland, can't quite make the move happen, but you're watching some nice battles deep within the field. This is Steve Gauthier getting the best of Mike Rhino, and it looks to be Ryan Doucette in the 77, turn 3.
Yeah, and you also see that 24 DuPont car up ahead. This is a great battle going back here deep in the field to see who can settle where and who can make it those spots. As you said, KB, you have to fight every lap and every corner here. Look at this. We're already 16 of 70 laps in, and it feels like we just started.
It's been very quick, obviously, with a little bit of a hiccup that we had under yellow. It looks to be very clean and green race right now, and some nice battles around the inside of your top 20. We saw Ryan Doucette in the 77 going at it for a battle. How about Nicholas Doucette inside 19th? This is against Evan Locke in the 25. You're watching a battle, I think, further up through the field this time by. But here's a look at everybody on through the top 20. The 24 of Doucette there in the DuPont Chevrolet, the Jeff Gordon colors. Going to work underneath the 9 of Brennan McGee for the spot, and they're side by side again. This time for 21st. This is Christian Budd and Evan Locke going at it, the 9 sideways at a turn 4.
Yeah, the 24 little sideways out of turn 4 as well. You saw the back end kind of kick around. But what you love about this as a driver, what I love to see, and if we're looking back at our lead fight here, how these guys are moving around the lanes, Kenneth, and how everyone's kind of driving everywhere. The pause of that tells you that it's just an open track. You can make whatever lane you want. This isn't a track where you're stuck to the high lane and you're stuck to the bottom. These guys are going to make it work. Now, here he goes. Here's Jose Solis taking the lead here.
And Solis has been the pioneer of the top. We've seen a couple of drivers follow, and with that, the 29 moves to the race lead. So the Kevin Harvick car now up at the front. Graham Boland going to have to defend for P2. This is against Dylan Roberts, Parker Alexander, the 2 DEI machines, and then Dylan Alt, the Jeff Burton Sitco car on the back end of the screen inside the top 5 as they go side by side for P6, Larry Pace and Jonathan Hernandez. So you have a former, what used to be Contender Series driver in Jose Solis Jr., and then current Coke Series driver in Graham Boland in your top 2, and then another Coke Series driver in Dylan Alt as you watched Larry Pace go around the outside. Jonathan Hernandez, Tyler Head now going at it. Some nice progress for the number 86, now up to, what is P7 on the racetrack? 2 spots up from the drop of the green.
A great battle, another side-by-side battle here. There's people trying to find the fight there. You see that Lowe's cart in the background. Oh, that might have been a scrubbing on the wall. And you see how it was. And the key indicator is how fast he shoots down the lane, Kenneth. Typically, when a car shoots down that quick, that means that they got some help getting down the track like that.
That is the case, and I want to talk about the different lines again, like you said, Derek, the multiple options that you have with this car, and even with others on the sim on this Rockingham Speedway. You could wrap around that yellow line on the bottom. You could be just as fast as if you're riding the outside wall like Jose Solis Jr. is right now. And we've also seen this type of line being run as well, where you slide up the track in the middle of the apex, you cut back down. It's sort of called the diamonding action, where you just kind of slide up the track at the entrance of the corner, let it roll, then get the nice exit on the bottom so you don't hit the outside wall. It's been pretty interesting to watch these drivers utilize this strategy even when they're side by side, and it seems to work.
Yeah, I mean, this is all a driver preference at this point, and maybe it's a preference of just wanting to get ahead and worry about tires later. For some drivers, such as the 5, you know, what'd be great if we could get, I don't know if we have camera set up, if we could get a cockpit view of the 5 and watch him turn a lap here while he's driving this bottom lane. I think you'll see how smooth he's driving it, but how bumpy that track is. I'd be curious to see if we can make that happen. If not, I'll get yelled at my ears in a second, but we'll see what we can do here. Here we go. Here's the onboard.
At 49, and Mac Alexander struck the outside wall. There's a nice view out of the right side of the cockpit. How about the onboard cam with the Got Milk Chevrolet?
So watch here. He's out. Start-finish line's going to dig it deep here into 1 and 2. See just how much the car bounces around here, Kenneth. This is not a smooth track. It's going to track it out as close to the wall as possible. And probably will dig it down into 1 and 2 again here. Or 3 and 4, pardon me. And we have a yellow.
Caution is out. Matthew Barkhouse in trouble. The 55 sideways on the back straightaway. Even more trouble in the entrance of turn 3. That's Alex Kolonix and the number 32. Got a bit of right rear damage on that 32 Tide machine, and even more so on the front end. I think some contact with Zach Campbell, and this started from the 55. He puts into the chat on the session on me, blaming the caution on himself, and we'll try to get a replay, see exactly how it all began. But truth be told, Derek, it was the 55 that got into trouble first, collected some others, and we have a 3-car incident to bring out our second caution, lap 26.
Yeah, another caution here. We'll wait and see it here. Oh, there it is. Couldn't get the car slow it up there. Yeah, big hit. That's, yeah.
55 just comes rocketing up the racetrack, and the 32 and the 20 absolutely nowhere they could go.
Oh, he got the apron.
One machine of William Boisvert almost got into it as well. Just got lucky that the 55 did not go in. But you see the huge slam on the Thunder Alley back straightaway. The 32 and the 10 and the 20 rather I'm crashing to a halt, the 32 up against the outside wall, and like you said, Derek, yeah, just a case of grabbing the apron. Car gets loose. There's nothing you could do. Leaders on pit road. Graham Boland and company in. Jose Solis Jr., remember the leader as they came in for this stretch of pit stops. We'll see the 29 comes out first. He does solid stop at what looks to be... Well, it looks like it says half a second for Jose Solis Jr. I can't imagine that has to be the case. It has to be 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, we're going to have to assume that someone's stopwatch wasn't working there. Whew, all right, well, here's the question. I was doing the math in my head, KB. We're on lap 27 of 70, so no one can make it from here, I don't think. That would be a hell of a gas save to make that work for what we know of the gassing, or the gas tanks here. So what do you do here?
Not sure. We'll just have to find out. Pit strategy on the horizon. We're going to restart in a couple of laps time, but you're tuned in to the 2003 Subway 400 on behalf of WINSTEL's 2003 season and our coverage on FTF.GG. Welcome back to the WINSTEL 2003 season and our coverage of the 2003 Subway 400 from the virtual Rockingham Speedway. Kenneth Bueno, Derek Watson with you on the coverage for FTF.GG. Just had our most recent caution involving 3 cars in the back straightaway. Jose Solis Jr. led them out of pit road, and he is up at the front, back to the green flag and at turn 1.
All right, new tires go. A little fin slap there by the 29. And he's having a hard time. Look at him all the way up there. Slid all the way up in that track, in that corner there, KB. New tires are not serving him well yet.
They got a little wide. Maybe have to warm the tires before he can start venturing up to the line where he got so comfortable in during that first run. Graham Boland's going to follow him there, side by side for third. That's Dylan on the outside of Dylan Roberts. So the 2 Dylans going at it. Alt's going to be able to win that battle. And here comes Boland, a huge send at turn 3. I don't believe it's going to be able to work at the exit of turn 4. It will not, but it could get him close enough for a challenge back to turn 1.
Meanwhile, look behind him. There's that Citgo car who's going to ride the very bottom of the track and track it up, and is now trying to make that challenge as well. This has become a very tight race all across the track, KB. Even further back, we're seeing a lot of tight racing. If we could go back to maybe Ali Osman and look how they're racing, that's a tight battle back there as well. Even tighter than the one for the lead.
Yeah, Osman got really loose at the exit of 4, so that's going to invite a car on the inside. That will be the 91 of James Holzer. There's this huge gaggle of cars here, Derek. I don't think anyone would want to be in this scenario. Now 3 wide on the back straightaway. That looks to be the 83. Jonathan Hernandez forced through the middle. The Super Cuts machine getting the cut of his life right now with everybody right in front of him. There's a look at Hernandez. Started 12th in this race. Now up to the mid-pack and the top 10. That was a hairy situation. Lost a couple of spots as a result.
I was thinking in my head, KB, 3 wide doesn't work here. I hope someone got the memo, and luckily they all kind of backed out and fanned it out back to 2 wide. That was going to be, that was not going to end well if they kept that up. But what that speaks to, KB, real quick, sorry, what that speaks to is how frantic this is, how quickly they know they need to make spots. So you're willing to put yourself in a spot and do something risky, hoping someone else backs out. It's the ultimate game of chicken.
That's true, and also with the fact that we touched on the idea that these races are not that long. You're looking at drivers wanting to be aggressive. They need to get every spot they can get. These are valuable points that are going to tally up to what could be a championship run for these guys. So you do have to think about that as well. You make a really good point as Ali Osman dives to the inside of Philip Snipes, but you can tell, Derek, that 5 is all over the place, wiggling the rear end, most notably out of turn 4. The rear end grip, even with the fresh tires, not happy with the 5.
You know, no, it's not. And here's the problem with that. It's not just the 5s having a hard time. All those drivers behind the 5, they're the ones having the hardest time. The 24, the 19, and everyone else behind there, they're having to constantly check up and not run that car over. At some point in a shorter race like this, KB, patience is going to wear out, and someone's just going to tag the back bumper of that 5 car at some point.
Well, remember how our first caution happened on the back straightaway exit turn 2. It was a driver that got loose, had a bit of a trouble, slowed down. People right behind him didn't have time to react. They just packed into the rear end. All of a sudden, you have a car darting for the inside wall. You get a caution so far. Luckily, none of that has happened quite yet. But the unlucky news will go to Alex Kullenix in the 32. He was involved in our most recent caution on the back straightaway with the 55 and the number 20. And it looks like for Alex Kullenix, that race for him is going to be over. Caution flag is out, though, on the speedway. It looks like a big stack up on the back straightaway. And 2 cars involved, Mike Rhino, and another car stalled. That's the 22, Steve Gauthier, in his machine.
Well, that probably solves your fuel problem, KB. And I think everyone could pit here for gas and be good. Let's see what happened here if we can pull a replay up real quick.
And look what happens. Mistake out of turn 2. People pack in the rear end. See what happens here. 3 cars, 3 wide in turns 1 and 2. Watch that. Caterpillar number 22 slow down. 25. Nowhere to go, but right on the rear end, and that's what catches him and gets the 9 as well. Puts him into the outside wall, and a big hit for Gauthier, and then the 35 also comes in as well. Ryan Doucette comes slamming in the 77 of the 22, gives him that final blow, and that's exactly what deals out our 3rd caution of the night.
That was a long wreck, KB. That took forever.
You watch them get back up together, try and at least gather themselves up before getting some damage repair on the pit lane. Speaking of which, you did say it, Derek, the concern for fuel strategy is all but over. Lap 39 crosses, and we have pretty much a full race to the end. Apart from tires, a big pit stop by Dylan Alt. 8.9 seconds. Mike just beat 2 tires. He wins the race off the pit lane.
Yep, that's the kind of move you need to make when drivers like Jose and Graham Boland have dominated this race. You have to take a risk and see what happens.
A nice stop by Dylan Alt puts him in the point. That's Brandon Cruz Monsivais in the 54 who's going to come in for the pit lane. So obviously did have the lead and hand it back to Alt as we come out of turn 4, and the 99 Sitco machine, the car that was at first ran by Jeff Burton in the NASCAR Cup Series, now up at the front. Tyler Head second, Gabriel Mauricio in third, and this is big here, Derek, because a lot of these calls for what seems to be 2 tires and maybe some calls on fuel only has gathered the field up and has bunched it in 100, 150, maybe different directions. You look at Graham Boland and Jose Solis Jr., they're now 5th and 7th on the racetrack. They were at 1.12, so now they have a little more work to do, and that poses the question, now that we enter the final 30 laps, what kind of approach are they going to take here to get back to the front?
I think the bigger question it poses, Kenneth, is how big are tires here? How important are tires here? They went about 10 laps under green before that caution came out. So is 10 laps enough of new tires to make a difference here as we come down to the end? The drivers who took 2 or 4, will they be able to make a move on people like Dylan Alt who went gas only? That's the question in my head, because there's a lot of pit strategy that comes into play here at a track like this. If you're already back in the field, I'm just going to pick a random name here. If you're 18th, 19th, 20th, if you're William Boisvert, or if you're Timothy Latham, why not take 4 tires here? What do you have to lose? You're mid-pack. Maybe you do find your way towards the front.
That's a good point as well. And if you've been in certain battles with certain drivers, I mean, these cautions give you the opportunity to kind of forge your own path, go on your own way, see what you can do with now what's going to be these 30 laps remaining here in this 2003 Subway 400. So as we get the restart, Dylan Alt is your race leader. Tyler Head and Gabriel Mauricio wrap up the top 3. Do also want to give a shout out to Kyle Benson, one of the drivers in this WINSTEL 2003 season, not here at Rockingham tonight. He did race last time we were out at Daytona, finished 8th. He is up there in Las Vegas on the West Coast working with the JD Motorsports team and the number 6 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So well wishes to Kyle Benson. I know how excited he was at Daytona to start the year when the Xfinity Series kicked off their 2023 campaign. So obviously well wishes to Benson. Hopefully we'll see him in our next outing at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Pace car is down. Dylan Alt, the race leader. He'll have discretion in the restart zone. Green flag is out. It'll be a late jump, but a proper one for the 99. We're back under green. Tyler ahead. Derek Watson looking to the inside for P1 and turn 1.
Yeah, very quick. Maybe the best reflex we've seen in the 2 races in this season so far of a driver ready and willing.
Back straightaway. Jose Solis Jr.
Oh,
into the
no.
inside wall. And
No caution yet.
Bring out the caution. No, it doesn't. We'll stay green.
He's down there by himself. There's no danger to the track. They're going to keep it green. But I was saying that was the best reflex by a driver on that restart. But now the question is, what happened to Solis? I'm so curious because he dominated the race. I wonder if he got some help or if maybe this two-tire play, really messed with the car. I'm just not sure.
And that is unbelievably heartbreaking for Jose Solis Jr., who's going to have a lot of work cut out for him and possibly a lot of luck needed to get back in this race. Meanwhile, battle for the lead still raging on. Back to turn 1. Tyler Head looking to break Dylan Alt's defense in the middle of the corner. Can't quite do it. The Sitco machine stays out front for now. He'll clear back for the race lead. And guess who's approaching slowly but surely? The 4 fresh tire car of Graham Boland in the 14.
And I kind of went back and looked. I can tell you off camera that what happened. It looks like there's a yellow. I was going to say a Holzer got in the back of Jose Solis.
Again, a big crash in turn 3. Multiple drivers involved. Christian Budd, the 17. What looks to be
set the 24.
Chris Hancock, the 16. And arguably our biggest crash all night long comes in turn 3. We've seen the problem area be the back straightaway, most notably exit turn 2. I think our first big problem in the latter half of the Rockingham Speedway. We'll see exactly what happened, but I think looking at it now, Derek, 16, got out of shape, got into contact with what looked to be the 31 of Ken Huff, and then as he's coming back up the track, 3 wide, contact, around they go.
Yeah, that's hard to see, Kenneth. It's a racer's nightmare, I think is the nice way to say it. I know the dream is to merge back at full speed and to keep going, but that's more of a nightmare than a dream at this point.
And in the chat, Chris Hancock puts out the C, which means that they take fault for the incident. The 16 gets into the 17 and the 25. It's a 3 to 4 car incident in turn 3, and that brings us under caution as we approach what's going to be 20 laps left in this 2003 Subway 400. So Dylan on the race lead, and we talked about Graham Boland. He's now sitting in P5, although he really hasn't done that much work. Derek, obviously the drivers take 2 tires. It's not going to be as easy to get up to the front of the field as it would if they had no tires taken on that last pit stop. But if for Graham Boland, is this possibly just a case of saving for as long as he can, then striking out and unleashing the fury as soon as we get to the final 15 to 10 laps, or is this just a different ploy that we may not be unraveling up to this point?
The question is, how easy is it to pass here? Is it just going to be a case where he's going to have to work super hard to pass? I mean, obviously Graham is a very, very talented driver, has been involved in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola series, knows his way around the iRacing service, but think back to the battles before between Graham and Jose Solis. There was a lot of battling, not a lot of passing. I mean, like I said, I think the closest battle we've had, the tightest battle, was how great of a jump Tyler Head made on Dylan Alt on this last restart. This caution could benefit Tyler Head greatly. He now knows what to do and how to do it better. I'm excited to see if he can jump that start a little better and get around our leader.
But if you're Dylan Alt, now how do you change your restart? Because you saw Tyler Head get to the inside the first time. You're like, I don't want this to happen again. If you're Dylan Alt, do you go earlier? Do you go later? Do you try something else? Is there something that you could do to get away from the 86 to turn 1?
I don't think there is. I think you're going to have to just restart and live with what it is. A lot of times we call the leader a sitting duck because it's just, whatever you do or don't do is what people will do behind you. If you try to move down and block Tyler Head, you're leaving that high lane open for someone to come on the outside and make a pass. And there's plenty of talented drivers: Gabriel Mauricio, Philip Snipes, Graham Boland, Dylan Roberts, James Holtzer, all up here. You just got to go and hope that Tyler Head misses. I think I don't think you can change anything. This is the problem of being a leader. A lot of drivers say, "Oh, I want to be in second and I want to lead at the ends," because of all the stress that comes with being a leader sometimes.
That is true. We'll see what Dylan Alt does. We do have the official 1 to green signal, which is no lights on the iRacing official pace car. We'll go green as we come out of turn 4, get the start-finish line with Dylan Alt at the head of the field. One car, I think, getting a wave around here, or these are lap cars, actually. So back to the restart rules. These lap cars, which are the first that we've seen all race long, it will be the 55 machine starting that group, and then the 29 of Jose Solis Jr. So interesting development.
Real quick, KB, sorry. This actually helps Dylan Alt a lot.
Yeah.
I want to point that out real quick. This helps because now it's harder for Tyler Head to get down on the inside and make a jump here. This probably most benefits the car 3rd or 4th, so Gabriel Mauricio or Philip Snipes to see what they can do. But here we go, Kenneth.
Matthew Barkhouse, Jose Solis Jr. on the inside. 2 lap cars, everybody on the top. Lead lap machines. Green flag back in the air in the 2003 Subway 400. And it's a solid start by Dylan Alt. You were exactly right. As they enter turns 1 and 2, Derek, that was enough for Alt to pull away, get himself some breathing room on Tyler Head and company as they are trying to split through the lap traffic. Jose Solis backing up the inside with the 55 of Barkhouse in front of him, and this makes the job for Graham Bolin much, much tougher. He's in the middle 3 wide, front straightaway.
And what it not only did, it didn't affect just the restart, Kenneth. Notice how Dylan Alt got down in the corner and Tyler Head was still battling side by side with a lapped car. That's going to put a time gap there and give him a jump. So a big benefit to Dylan Alt to have those lap cars on the inside. But look at this on the bottom here, Kenneth. Look how close they're getting and just how everyone's pushing right now. It's 21 to go. You can't let off. You have to keep pushing each other and see if you can get up here to the front.
And a lot of battling, especially around your top 5, and even then you could look around your top 15, top 20. Long line of cars, starting with Ali Osman, who's rolling 12th, Jacob Bradley in the 60 in 13th, and then a single file train from Jonathan Hernandez, William Boisvert, the 30 of Tyler Murray, the AOL car driver we haven't really talked about all night long. And then again, back to the 55 and the 29, both lap the machines. Barkhouse 20 laps down, Jose Solis Jr. looking to get the lucky dog. He's hoping for a caution inside the next 19 laps, but if it stays like this, it might just be a little hairy as Murray gets into the outside wall.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, I thought he was just about to get it. I was like, well, there you go. You made it happen, but I guess not. Look at the difference, though, between Jose Solis and Barkhouse, the 2 lap cars on the inside. It looks like Barkhouse is having an unfortunate night and trying really hard to not be in the way, but must be struggling in that car because he's just everywhere the camera is right now for some reason.
It's been really tough. We'll keep an eye on the 55 and the 29 as Solis continues to plummet through this line of cars. Obviously not through the running order. He's sitting 38th 1 lap down on the 38 cars that are on, or 37 cars rather, that are on the lead lap. He's getting absolutely freight trained by the field. Meanwhile, Dylan Alt has pulled away. We're watching still this battle around Tyler Murray in driver 17th on forward. Anthony Kroback, the driver he's trying to go against, in the 18. It looks like they're going to try and break away from Barkhouse here, that 55 car on the outside, and a little bit of calm throughout the storm. 16 laps to go.
All right, starting to calm down a little bit. People are starting to single file it out. Not as stressful, but with 16 to go, no one has time to lay back now. You have to constantly be trying to move here. You start asking yourself as a driver, what do I want to do? Do I want to... Oh, hold on. Did I see? No, I guess not. Okay, sorry. You have to start asking yourself, am I content here? Do I want to push harder? Do I want to see if there's another caution? There's a lot of questions in your head as the anxiety picks up here with 15 to go.
It's probably going to be how much that car is willing to give you in return. You're watching a side-by-side battle for 4th. And remember, we talk about Graham Bolin was on the fresh tires that last time everybody came down pit road. The driver in front of him, Dylan Roberts, also took 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles at a 14.5-second pit stop. Bolin's going to now force his way to the outside thanks to this battle with Philip Snipes. But it doesn't look like tires, in terms of 4 versus 2, Derek, it doesn't seem to be all that drastic of a change, because if, let's say, these guys took no tires, then sure, we'd be talking about Graham Bolin up at the front. But since these drivers at the front took 2 tires only, look how much difficult, or more difficult, it is for the 14 to catch up to the front. Working on Roberts for position, now has to work on Snipes, and time is running out.
Yeah, time is running out. I think what would happen here, maybe where it could become a benefit, if we get one more restart, we will not have lap cars on the inside per the rules. That might be different, but yeah, I think the mix of the lap cars, the mix of the tires not being that different, the mix of it just apparently being hard to pass here, as we're seeing all night long. I mean, beautiful side-by-side racing and everyone packed in together, but not a whole lot of passing here.
And not a whole lot of passing. Some side-by-side battles in between. Speaking of side-by-side, for a brief moment, we did have door-to-door action for the lead. Dylan Alt tagging the outside wall as they approach the Thunder Alley sign in the back straightaway. Tyler Head is catching. He is pretty much even with Alt the last time by at a 25 flat. So looks like the 86 of Head isn't really going away. And what is going to be more interesting for Head's overall championship implication and his route to what could be a WINSTEL 2003 season title is that if he finishes where he stands right now, or even if he wins this race, he'll be the only driver to finish in the top 5 in both races in this season. He finished 5th at Daytona.
And you know, that's an important point too, Kenneth. Let's remind everyone, we're in 2003. There's no chase, there's no playoffs, there's no nothing. This is straight up season to season points that's going to determine our winner. So even if you don't win, even if you have those consistent top 5s and you never win a race, you can still win the title here, just purely based on the fact of how consistent you are. So, you know, that's what you need to ask yourself as well. Graham Bolin now up to 4th, by the way. But if you're Graham Bolin, if you're Gabriel Mauricio, if you're Dylan Robertson 6th, even a Holzer in 7th, what's more important, pushing hard and gaining a spot here or having a good points day? You see Holzer there on the bottom, now getting around the 5.
Holtzer's going to get around one of the cars there on the top. Holtzer actually back in P6, so the next battle in line might just be with Larry Pace, but Ali Osman, the car that we've seen sideways all evening up to this point, now going to work on the 000 of TJ Crampton, the Net Zero machine, and we haven't really talked about TJ all throughout this race, although he started 14th. Haven't seen much of the Net Zero Chevrolet, or rather the Pontiac, in 2003 as it was known, and still know that GM was split between those two brands at the time. But Ali Osman working on the inside, can't quite find a nudge to the 000, and they've got Mike Alexander not too far behind either, so they can't get a little too eager here as we approach the final 10 laps. Beautiful crossover at a turn 4 by Osman.
Little wiggle as well. And can I talk real quick, Kenneth? I know we're coming to the end here, but how frustrating that is as a driver when your car, when you just can't figure it out. It might not even be the car's fault. It might just be you can't find the line or you can't understand the line. You're having a bad night. You get grumpy about it in the first 10 laps and you never quite settle in that car. That makes this night even harder, even if it is only 70 laps. It's quite frustrating when that happens to you.
We'll see what happens to Osman as he continues
way outside.
his charge for position. Osman way up the racetrack. Try to get a good run out of turn 2. This might be it for the spot. Osman on the inside again for 9th in a turn 3.
Question is, can he pull off the slide job? And yes.
Got it. Crossover now. Here comes the 000. Crampton the inside. Beautiful battle for the last spots in the top 10.
And I think this will be easier for Crampton, I think, because Crampton's been more comfortable in the car, but maybe not. Maybe that outline is going to work a little better. Oh, that was close.
Close indeed. Looks like Crampton falls back. Mike Alexander waiting to pounce at the right moment. Ali Osman finally clears, so a bit of breathing room, bit of elbow space for the 5 as he gets into the outside wall slightly. Exit turn 4. We enter the final 4 laps of this 2003 Subway 400. I've been watching the battle for the lead. It looks like Tyler Head, despite all of the chances that he's gotten on the racetrack, it may not be enough to catch back up to Dylan Alt. Got way loose at the exit of turn 2. Alt seems to maintain that gap at around 0.3 of a second. 3 laps to go. So watch a battle further back through the field. This is Dylan Roberts under fire. 3-way fight for 5th. Larry Pace, James Holter in it too.
Here we go. We're a little less than 3 to go now. The question is, can Tyler get in ahead of Dylan Alt? Can he make him make a mistake? Can we make him wiggle? Can he make him think too hard? As we will make our way to the front here in just a moment and watch the battle. I mean, right now it looks pretty smooth here. In fact, now there's a lap car in the way, and I think this is all but done.
And that may just be the final bell for Tyler Head's chances at getting to Dylan Alt in the race lead. And that lap car in the 22 didn't really help the 86 all too much. He was side by side with Gauthier in the Caterpillar Pontiac. Caution flag is out though. With 2 laps to go. We have a big stack up exit turn 2. A couple of drivers seem to be involved. We'll fully identify them for you. But caution is out, and this changes everything, Derek.
This changes a lot of things, Kenneth. I thought we were done. I was ready to start packing up and heading home, but no, we're going to do it here. Wait and see if we can get a replay of what happened here.
Oh, Ryan Doucette just getting packed on the rear end by Matt Burgess in the 2 at the entrance of turn 1. Watch this checkup, though. These are 4 or 5 cars, by the way, all staggered. Right there, they check up. Doucette tries to get out of the way to avoid contact, and the 2 just comes pummeling in.
They tried to put it 3 wide. Now, here's the question now. If you are these drivers, what are you doing? It looks like they're coming down pit road. Oh, hold on. No. Tyler Head stayed out.
Tyler Head and company are going to play the gamble as Dylan Alt comes in for service, and he might, Derek, just be the only driver to come in terms of the top 10. Wow.
I mean, and you know what? Sitting duck. Let's go back 10 minutes or so in that conversation. That's what happened. Dylan Alt went, and everyone said, I'm good.
Oh, you got to feel for Dylan Alt. I think he was probably anticipating more drivers to come in with him. But Alt comes in with stall. It looks like no tires either, so I'm not sure. I think now the jacks are finally up. Weird situation for Alt.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is if Alt maybe didn't put enough gas in it on the last car. I don't know. I think everyone's good on gas, but if that was tires involved in it, I want to say, listen, I was kind of going to jokingly say I have enough faith in the talent of Dylan Alt that he could make it back around here. But listen, now let's talk about the rules of WINSTEL for this. It's going to be a green-white checker. However, race control is going to take the next couple of laps off. As far as we understand in the booth, no matter what happens on track, Kenneth, we're going to finish this race under green. So even if there's a wreck in the back of the field or whatever, race control is going to finish this race under green. So this is probably going to be something that is going to be, let's see, what would be words? Chaotic, eventful, pandemonium.
Hopefully not catastrophic.
Hopefully not catastrophic. That's, right. But so someone, you have to just almost, be team no lift.
Also, just want to correct myself. That was a 4-tire stop for...
Yeah, I thought it was based on the time. I thought that had to be.
So it looked odd from the camera, the angle that I was looking at, but as a replay, it did look like 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles for Alt. But the problem is, we have 2 laps left. He's buried in 25th, so it looks like Alt may not go to victory lane in this 2003 Subway 400. But who's facing the checkered flag right within his eyes is this 86 of Tyler Head. But Derek Watson, like we've talked about, you are a sitting ducky for the leader. This is a restart here with 2 laps to go. Mauricio and company can try and do something here.
I just heard a motor expire, but I don't see it. Maybe it was someone on pit road I just heard. Sorry, that caught my attention for a second. That classic iRacing noise, but I don't see any
Zach Campbell.
Cars. Okay.
Looks like Zach Campbell that had blown up. As I did see in the chat, it said Tony Stewart's game. Oh, no, rather, that is a game crash, not an engine crash. So my apologies there. But still, problems for Zach Campbell, who's been facing issues all night long. Has been involved in a couple of crashes tonight, and Campbell, the winner at Daytona, will not be able to replicate that success here in Rockingham, North Carolina. We'll try and settle the field for you. Go ahead, Derek.
Real quick, want to point out Tyler Head is the person who made that awesome restart move earlier. Now they're going to try to defend against that same move here with Gabriel and Mauricio right behind him.
We'll see if Head took his notes. We'll see what he can do as he gets the green flag. This will be with 2 laps to go. Like Derek was talking about, our green-white checkered rules here in this WINSTEL 2003 season. We take the green, we have our 1 attempt, and we will not throw the yellow no matter what happens. Green flag will wave with the 86 of Tyler Head in the Fred Jones machine. Up and away he goes to the green flag from Rockingham once more.
Instead of Gabriel moving, Graham Boland's down to the bottom of the track. Graham Boland's going to try to make a run at this.
It looks like Dylan Roberts tried to find a way to the inside. A failed attempt by Graham Boland. Delays what might be the inevitable. Tyler Head comes out
wrecking in 3 and 4
and gets the white flag. They're trying their best to keep their cars straight and try to get a clean end to this 2003 Subway 400. Last potential chance for second place, Gabriel Mauricio. Boland will try and dive for 3rd, but it will not matter in the grand scheme of things. Final corner, Tyler Head victorious for the first time this season. He takes the 2003 Subway 400.
they're wrecking all out of 1 and 2 right now, Kenneth.
Oh, big stack up in 1 and 2. Evan Locke says he ran out of fuel coming to the line.
So maybe gas was a problem. Maybe Dylan wasn't there. I don't know. Watch this here.
But there's the celebration. Everyone giving their congratulations to Tyler Head, the Fred Jones machine, typical of a season commemorating NR 2003's 20th anniversary. The 86, the Papyrus car, will visit Victory Circle here in Rockingham, North Carolina. Burnouts on the way. Tyler Head, the winner.
Well, I can now tell you in 2003 fashion, Kenneth, I know what the Rock is cooking. It's a victory for Tyler Head.
Of course, with this win by Tyler Head, he becomes the only driver in these first 2 races to have finished in the top 5 in both. Again, we said finished 5th at Daytona to start the season, wins this race at Rockingham, and of course becomes the second different winner here in the WINSTEL 2003 season, as the field will now head out west for the next race of the season at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Head parks it in the Victory Circle. It'll be our time to take a look at the replay first. This is Dylan on the restart.
Yeah, this is Dylan Alt, who was, I think, started 25th, you said. The new tires. Watch this here. This is going to be an amazing run. Let's count this out, Kenneth. 1, 2. Watch the cars he's going to pass. Going to get a great run out of 1 and 2 here. Let's use the wall for a little bit of help here. He's going to use actually what we call a modern-day Ross Chastain a little bit here. There's a wreck below I called out. 3,
4, 5. What's going to be 6?
7 right there, I think. I'm going to use that wall for a little bit of help again. 8.
And he gets the 6. That's going to be 9 spots. Actually, there's 9 as the 6 gets into the 25 at the start-finish line.
Big hit.
And that's exactly what the 25 Evan Lack was talking about. Ran out of fuel as he was coming to the line. That's why the 6 Ben Hancock got into him. So it wasn't necessarily an incident of intent or an incident that just happened because they made contact. It was really just because Lack had ran out of fuel and just got hit. Obviously, nothing that he could do at the end there. But the 86 of Tyler Head is your winner after starting in 9th. Of course, his first win of the season in race number 2. Gabriel Mauricio tried all that he could from 18th on the starting grid and in second place position at that green-white checker. That's where he finishes, though. Graham Boland, one of the most dominant drivers all night long, could not find the speed to get to Mauricio nor Head at the end. He finishes inside the top 3. Dylan Roberts and Larry Pace, the 8 and the 75, are the 2 to wrap up the top 5 here from Rockingham. James Holzer in the 91 is P6. Philip Snipes is 7th. Mike Alexander in the 49. A great race for him as he comes home in P8. Ali Osman, a driver at Focus for most of the night, comes home in P9. And TJ Crampton, driver he was going up against a while back, the 000, comes home in the top 10.
All right, let's pick up 11 here. Jacob Bradley with Jonathan Hernandez in 12th. Brandon McGee and Sean Peleg, 13 and 14. Anthony Kroback and Dylan Alt, 16th. You saw that run there. Ben Hancock, Evan Locke, Christian Budd, and Parker Alexander round out your top 20.
Look for 21st on back, starting with Timothy Latham, who rolled off 25th. Davin Cornelius is 22nd, but a nice progress through the field after starting 34th. Ryan Doucette got caught up in a crash late in the going. He's 23rd at the end of this one. Nicholas Nuck in the 41 is 24th. Hayden Repas is 25th. William Boisver is 26th. Brandon Cruz Monsivais is 27th. Ross Lineback is 28th. Nicholas Doucette is 29th. At Matt Burgess in the 2 is the last driver in the top 30. We'll look at the final set of drivers in this field, starting with Steve Gauthier in 31st, Shane Calhoun in 32nd, Mike Rhino, Tyler Murray, and Josh Parisotto for the top 35. They are the last drivers on the lead lap. Then goes Ken Huff. First driver 1 lap down, 36. Jose Solis Jr., such a force in the beginning of this race, and then got caught up in a crash in the back straightaway that no yellow flew because of it. He fell 1 lap down. That's where he is at the end of this race. Zach Campbell expired early with it looked to be internet connectivity issues. Zach Campbell ends up 38th. Matthew Barkhouse is 39th. Chris Hancock is 40th. And 41st will be the number 32 of Alex Kolonix. The Tide Machine got caught up in a crash in turn 3 and put it behind the wall. Let's get a moment with the driver who visits victory lane for the first time this season. That will be the number 86 of Tyler Head. And Tyler, we noted your move on the race leader at the time in Dylan Alt on one of the restarts. You tried your hardest to get by him, but then Alt comes down pit road. You stay out, you lead the rest of this race. What was that like for you, and what is it like getting your first win of the year?
Well, I got to tip the cap to Dylan because he up to that point had the right strategy, and if we get half a lap more, we get the white flag, and he wins this race. Because I tried to save some tires behind him while we were running, and he did a better job than I did for sure. And I mean, it makes sense. He's pretty good at this sort of thing. So, but I was very fortunate that he made the decision to pit, and that opened the door for me. And I'm just tickled pink. I mean, we have such a great crop of drivers that choose to come out and race with us. It's I'm happy just to run top 10, let alone top 5, let alone be winning the race at the end of it. So I'm really thrilled to do it in the Fred Jones car with our nod to NASCAR Racing 2003 season this year. So. This is probably going to be the only time he makes it to victory lane, but at least it's once.
I was going to say, the perfect setting to have the Papyrus car get to victory lane at least one time in this NR 2003 commemoration season for WINSTEL. I want to talk about that last restart, green-white checkered. You had Gabriel Mauricio and Graham Boland not too far behind you. I know you had used some of the restart antics to get to Dylan Alt inside at the entrance of turn 1. Did you have any concerns that Mauricio and Boland were going to try the same tricks up their sleeve, or were you confident enough in your ability to stay up front and stay calm and collected to get this win?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I was worried about was on really old tires, getting the power down, because that was really more of what happened on the previous restart. Was I just got a little bit of a better reaction, was able to get into second gear with traction a little bit better than the 99, and I was just trying to bide my time until the start-finish line to move down. I'm sure it was close, but on that last one, I just knew the tires were way more worn out, and I just wanted to get the turn 1 still straight and having a shot at it. And thankfully, I was able to execute, and they got to racing each other back there, and I just had 3 more sets of corners to not screw up. And hey, if there was another one, I probably would have, but thankfully, that was all there was, and I was able to avoid embarrassing myself.
The only driver over the first 2 races of the season to finish in the top 5 in both. Finished 5th at Daytona, first here at Rockingham. Now, what's next for Las Vegas in race number 3?
Well, try to keep it going, obviously, but like I said, we've got a really talented group of people that show up, and I want to tip the cap to everybody that comes out to race, but especially Brendan McGee and Christian Budd and Dylan Roberts, Alex Bates, the rest of the folks that work on administrating this league alongside me in some way, shape, or form, because it really shows in the product that we're able to put together, and it allows us to draw the group of people that we have racing each week. So I'm really happy to be where I am right now. Hope we can keep it going, but most of all, I'm just happy to have Fred Jones in victory lane.
That's right, Fred Jones in victory lane for the first time this season. Tyler, on behalf of our entire broadcast crew, congratulations on the W in the 2003 Subway 400. Looking forward to seeing you at Las Vegas next week.
Thank you very much.
So that is Tyler Head in the 86, holds off the rest of the field. Fred Jones and Papyrus visit victory lane, this time through at Rockingham. We'll try and talk to our second place finisher, Gabriel Mauricio in the 40. Derek Watson, you're caught up with him.
Gabriel, good job tonight. You started, I think, back in 18th and you finished second. What was the strategy going into tonight?
Man, I don't even know what to say. I was definitely not expecting to finish second tonight. I struggle with tight setups, and also qualifying really poorly doesn't help, especially with the single file restarts. But just had the right strategy. It took 2 tires. I felt like made the car a lot looser, still tight, but a lot looser, and it gave me a couple spots. I got lucky with the restart too, and as soon as we had the first long run, I was just not believing that I was actually pulling away. Outside of that, congrats to Dylan Alt and Tyler. They just pulled away. They were fast on the short run, the long run, and the caution was tough. I didn't know if I was gonna pivot. Single file restart late in the race, so we all stayed out. I feel bad for Dylan. He had the fastest pace by far, and he saved his tires. And man, I was not expecting to hold off Graham Bowling on the final laps. The caution definitely saved me there, and ended up finishing second. Cannot believe it.
I can't believe it as well. It was a great run tonight with Gabriel. You did well, obviously setting yourself up for a great points run. Anyone you want to say hello to or thank you to before you head out tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank WINSTEL. They do a good job with this series for organizing everything, and that's it.
All right, well, listen, great run tonight in a P2 in that 40 car. Gabriel, good luck in the rest of the season.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
Thank you. All right, well, KB, that was a great night, and I think we're just about done.
It looks like we are not able to talk to third place Graham Boland, but it's all good. We'll try and restart the series 1 week from tonight. On March 12th, 2023, we'll have the UAW Daimler Chrysler 400 from the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll see you then, but until next time, for everyone at FTF.GG, for our broadcast team tonight, Zach Johnson, the producer, Derek Watson, alongside myself, Kenneth Bueno in the broadcast booth, saying good night from Rockingham, North Carolina. Congratulations to the Fred Jones car, Tyler Head, on win number 1 in this WINSTEL 2003 racing season.